This is Taiwan, a small island nation located off the coast of China. Taiwan is a truly traveler's paradise packed with stunning natural landscapes that feature 9 unique national parks, buzzing cities throughout the country that perfectly blend its ancient history with modern architectural design. And of course, one cannot come to Taiwan without experiencing its famous night markets that offer mouth-watering food. In this video, I want to share my experience of traveling Taiwan as a solo traveler, give you all of the information you need to know prior to your visit, from booking hotels to using public transportation, and lastly, I want to share my 10-day travel itinerary so that you can plan your next trip to Taiwan. Prior to arriving into Taiwan, here are a few helpful pieces of information you should know. First, you'll most likely be flying into Taipei, the country's bustling capital city in the north of the country. Taipei is served by 2 airports, Songshan, which primarily serves domestic and short-haul international flights, and the much bigger Toyan, or simply Taipei International Airport. This airport is served by the Purple Line that goes directly into Taipei main station in the heart of the city, and the journey takes approximately 35 minutes. When you first arrive at the airport, make sure to get yourself an Easy Card, which is used here in Taipei to get on public buses and trains within the city limits. They can be purchased at any metro station and you simply tap and go. While we are on the topic of public transportation, I cannot stress enough how incredible the metro, buses, and the bullet trains are here in Taiwan. You can get just about anywhere using public transportation. Keep in mind, however, that some of the places I'll be talking about later in this video are better suited for a scooter or a car, which you can rent in any of the major cities around the country. Having your own means of transportation gives you that freedom to reach some of the off-the-beaten places, so it all depends on your traveling style. Let's now talk a little bit about hotels and where to stay during your trip to Taiwan. In major cities such as Taipei, Taichung, or Tainan, the best option that I found was Booking.com. You can search and compare prices based on your location preference, and oftentimes you can opt for free cancellations should your plans change. Another option that could potentially save you some money is by contacting the property directly through WhatsApp to get a better price. During my trip throughout Taiwan, I opted to stay in hotels and homestays. When I visited Taipei, I opted to stay hotels close to the attractions, and as I ventured out into the countryside and the coast, I tried out a few homestays. Prices can vary depending on when you come, but during my January visit, I paid around $60 to $80 per night in Taipei and around $20 to $30 outside of the major metropolitan areas. These last few tips I want to share with you can greatly enhance your stay in Taiwan. First, I recommend downloading an eSIM onto your phone prior to coming to the country. With a few providers such as Airulu, Holofly, and Maya Mobile, I recommend Maya Mobile as they have the most affordable plans and have worked flawlessly during my recent trips to Albania, Pakistan, and Taiwan. I will leave a link in the video description below. Having internet while abroad is crucial for things like Google Maps or being able to use Google Translate. You can simply use the camera feature to point at a sign and the translation will appear in your hand. But it always helps to know some local phrases. One last thing we need to talk about is the currency. Taiwan uses the Taiwan dollar, and at the time of the recording, $1 US equals 32 Taiwanese dollars. While major cards are accepted almost anywhere in the country, it's wise to have cash for things like night markets. I have now given you all the crucial pieces of information to know prior to arrival into Taiwan. So now I want to share my 10-day travel itinerary I followed to explore this diverse country. Upon arrival into Taiwan, I recommend spending a few days here in Taipei, getting to know the city, its customs, and the foods. Perhaps even doing a walk-in or a food tour. To start your adventures here in Taipei, I recommend a visit to Yangmingshan, or the Elephant Mountain, which is located in the southeast of the city. You can reach the base of the mountain by using the red metro, but be prepared for a lot of stairs to reach the top. Once you reach the top, this is in my opinion my favorite viewpoint of the entire city. You can see the entire city skyline in front of you, and it is perfect for sunrises or sunsets. This is also where I came to watch the New Year's fireworks being shot off from the Taipei 101 building. Next, I recommend you visit the iconic Taipei 101 building that dominates the city skyline. The elevator to reach the 89th floor takes just 37 seconds and it's one of the fastest in the world. Once you reach the top, you can marvel at the city down beneath your feet from the observation deck. And don't forget to check out the massive damper on the 90th floor that protects the building during earthquakes. After witnessing the city from up above, I have a few suggestions down on the ground. First, I recommend you take the red metro train from Taipei 101 and get off at Chiang kai-Shek Memorial Hall. This grand square features some of the most beautiful architecture in the city. Standing in front of you is the Chiang kai-Shek Memorial Hall, dedicated to the former president of Taiwan. Leading into this hall are 89 steps that represent former president's age. If you can, I recommend arriving prior to 9 a.m. to observe the changing of the guard ceremony. It's quite special, and while you're there, notice the tall bronze statue of Chiang kai-Shek sitting there proudly. Have a gander around the square and explore the beautiful gardens. If you have some extra time, I recommend you visit the two museums. Or you can take some beautiful photos next to the Liberty Square Arch standing proudly and welcoming visitors to this incredible complex. When you visit Taiwan, one of the best ways to discover its culture and rich history is through the variety of its foods that you can find in night markets scattered throughout the city. I have traveled to over 50 countries and I can honestly say Taiwanese cuisine is one of the best ones I've ever eaten. Around Taipei and any other major cities you will travel through on this island, you will find many night markets offering different foods such as the hearty beef noodle soup, scallion pancakes, pepper buns, Taiwanese sausage. You get the idea, the list is endless. I have a video in my Taiwan playlist where I take you to some of the most popular night markets here in Taipei. Let me quickly tell you some of the night markets that you have to try while here in Taipei. First, I recommend the Ximen night market. This night market is located on the northern banks of the city and is easily accessible using the Red Metro line. This is the biggest market here in Taipei with over 500 stalls offering mouth-watering foods. I recommend you try the Taiwanese sausage and the beef noodle soup from a restaurant that has been awarded a Michelin star a few years in a row called the Good Friend Noodles. My second recommendation is the Yushan night market, also located close to the Red Metro line. This market is mainly known for its incredible oyster omelets, and what I accidentally stumbled upon was this perfectly seasoned chicken skewer that was super juicy and so tender, and it ended up being one of my favorite dishes there. The final market I want to recommend to you is the Raho night market. You can get there by taking the Green Metro line and getting off at Songshan Station. Right in front of the entrance, you will find few stalls selling one of the most popular street foods here in Taipei, the Taiwanese pepper bun. The sandwich is so crisp with just the right amount of flakiness, and all of that is stuffed with pork. I may have come back here a few more times. I encourage you all to explore the night markets and get out of your comfort zone to try these unique foods, as they only cost between $1 and $3, which means you can feast like a king for under $20 if you know where to look. By now, you're probably drooling after seeing all of my delicious food recommendations, but here are a few more places to see while you're exploring Taipei. Dihua District, located near the Tamsui River, is one of the oldest districts here in Taipei where you'll feel like you have stepped back in time. You can admire the Japanese colonial architecture as you peruse through tea houses, textile shops, and visit some of the beautiful temples in this district. Within walking distance, you will find the vibrant district of Ximen, often referred to as the Shibuya of Taiwan. This is one of the most touristy places here in Taipei, but it is well worth a visit with lots of places to eat, stores to shop in, and just a very energetic vibe. After exploring Taipei for a couple of days, it's time to start exploring the beautiful countryside of Taiwan and its jaw-dropping landscape. Located just 45 minutes outside of Taipei is Yangmingshan National Park, known for its volcanic landscape, geothermal features, and lots of hiking trails throughout the park. The best and most efficient way to visit Yangmingshan is using Taipei's incredible transit system. You will first need to take bus 260 from Taipei until you reach Yangmingshan bus terminal. From there, you'll want to transfer to Red Bus 108 until you reach the Xiaoyu Kang Visitor Center. The park is massive and you can easily spend a few days there. I'm going to tell you everything I was able to see in just one day. I begin my adventures with a visit to Xiaoyu Kang Thermal Hole, the largest one in the country, offering visitors an insight into Taiwan's volcanic past. Just next to the thermal hole, I begin my hike to the top of Jiufen Mountain, the tallest peak in the park, offering sweeping views of the landscape around you. From the top of the mountain, continue hiking for another 3 miles until you reach the Longshe Kung Hot Springs. There's a small seating area where you can dip your legs in the hot springs for free. Or if you want the full experience, there's also a proper hot springs pool you can pay to get in. For my visit to Yangmingshan, I was very impressed with the infrastructure that was put in place to explore this beautiful park. The trails intertwine with one another, which means you can explore the park from one end of another, and the signage found on the trail tells you exactly where each of the landmarks are located. After spending some time relaxing in the hot springs, follow the markers towards the Qintianga grasslands. This is another area of the park I recommend you visit. You can hike the 1.5-mile loop around this vast grassland, offering beautiful views of the surrounding mountains. If you're lucky, you may even come across a family of water buffaloes. From this point, you will need to follow the trail south towards Tianci Waterfall for about 1 mile until you reach this multi-tiered waterfall, which in my opinion was one of the most beautiful falls I have seen throughout my time here in Taiwan. It is now time to say goodbye to Taipei and hop on the bullet train to head south along the western part of the island to explore the Sun Moon Lake, hike in the mountains of Yushan National Park, and witness one of the most beautiful sunrises in Alishan National Forest. Our adventures will begin in Taichung, which can be reached via Taiwan high-speed rail in just under 3 hours for only $20 or 700 Taiwanese dollars. You can learn more about how easy Taiwan's public transportation is by watching one of the videos on my channel. Due to the distance I'll be covering over the next 4 days and all of the places I want to see, I opted for a car rental which costs only $30 per day. You will need to provide an international driver's license and your passport, and then you'll be on your way. Sun Moon Lake is located only an hour from Taichung, which makes it a perfect day trip destination if you're staying in a city. The lake is one of the most visited landmarks in the country, and rightfully so. The absolute best way to explore Sun Moon Lake is by renting an electric bicycle in Shushi for just $20 for the whole day. If you want to bike around the entirety of the lake, it is roughly 30 kilometers or 18 miles, so plan accordingly. If you choose to embark on this bicycle journey, I recommend going clockwise as I encounter less people, but this may change depending on the season you visit. I visited in early January when the temperatures were mild and the crowds were minimal, which made it a much more enjoyable experience. The first stop on this grand bicycle adventure will be the Wenwu Temple, where you'll need to climb some stairs to reach the top, but I'll promise you the views at the top will be worth it. You'll be greeted by 2 giant lion statues guarding the entrance to the main temple. I really enjoyed wandering around this giant complex and admiring the architecture of the temple and seeing the sweeping views of the lake below. Hop back on a bike and continue towards the town of Itatao. This makes it a halfway point of our journey. It's also worth making a stop here to wander around, perhaps eat some food before continuing the journey. Once you leave the town, the bike path ends for the remainder of the trip, but don't worry, it's not a very busy road. Continue for another 7 miles until you reach the Ximen Pagoda. This beautiful 9-story Chinese pagoda was built by Chiang kai-Shek, Taiwan's former president, in memory of his beloved mother. You can climb the spiral staircase to the very top and enjoy sweeping views of Sun Moon Lake and Taiwan's central mountain range. There are a ton of other great overlooks around Sun Moon Lake just waiting to be discovered. For me, the cherry on top was this beautiful sunset I witnessed before I started driving towards my next destination, Yushan National Park. Yushan National Park is known for its jagged peaks, diverse landscape, and the tallest peak in the country, Jade Mountain, standing at 12,979 feet. To visit this magnificent national park, I booked my accommodations an hour north of the park. Note that there's only one lodge within the park, and believe me when I tell you that the scenic drive I took to reach the park is well worth it. Tataka Visitor Center is the main information building in the park and where most of the hikes begin. This is also where you can obtain permits for Jade Mountain if you're planning this 15-mile hike. The Visitor Center offers great information and lots of interactive displays about the park, which I recommend you visit. You can also ask the lovely staff for any hike recommendations. I opted to do a 7-mile hike which I researched myself. It is a loop hike to the top of Linqi Peak, which is a moderate hike in my opinion and offers some of the best views here. The hike starts past the Visitor Center and immediately climbs up a few flights of stairs until you reach a service road, where the first landmark you'll stumble upon is a giant hamlock which are native to this area. Continue to the right and follow the markers to Linqi Mountain until you reach your first overlook. From this point, you will be accompanied by the views of the tallest peaks in Taiwan, including Jade Mountain. Throughout the entire hike, I didn't encounter a single person, which felt like I had the place all to myself. My visit to Yushan left me speechless. All of the views of the surrounding mountains and the clouds that continue to flow over the ridge turned this hike into one of the most memorable experiences I had in Taiwan. One word of advice I have for you is to keep your eyes peeled. When I was driving to the next hike, I stumbled upon a family of Formosan monkeys. It was the only time I had seen them during my entire stay in Taiwan. Another short hike that I really enjoyed here in Yushan was the Tafuya Historic Trail. The hike follows the train tracks built by the Japanese during their occupation of Taiwan. It is an easy walk through a lush forest of Taiwanese cypresses. Take a moment to stop and smell the fresh air of the trees and listen to the birds singing. Bordering Yushan National Park is another iconic destination here in Taiwan, the Alishan National Forest, renowned for its sunrise train to the top of Zushan Mountain. Unlike Yushan, Alishan offers a lot more accommodation options, from hotels to more traditional guest houses. I recommend staying near the Alishan Visitor Center where you can find shops, tea houses, and the aforementioned visitor center. Let's talk about the main things to do while here in Alishan. The one you must do is take the sunrise train to the top of Yushan. You can purchase your tickets the day off at the train station. Just make sure to arrive as early as possible, as people begin queuing up an hour before the train departure. The train journey takes approximately 20 minutes and costs 150 Taiwanese dollars or $7 US round trip. When you arrive at the Yushan station, you'll notice most people go to the first lookout platform. Continue to the right for about 15 minutes to the further platform for much better views. The sunrise here at the top of Yushan was spectacular and worth waking up super early for. I do want to warn you to pay close attention to your train return schedule, because if you miss the train, you'll have to hike back down to the main visitor center. My second recommendation for exploring Alishan Forest is hiking the 2.5-mile Alishan Forest Park Loop. The trail starts just north of the visitor center and follows a wooden walkway through an ancient forest of Taiwanese cypresses. As you walk through this ancient forest dating back almost 3,000 years, you'll be amazed at some of the peculiar trees you will find here. Take a gander and go off the beaten path to immerse yourself in the nature of this beautiful forest, and be sure to read some of the plaques and learn about the rich history of this place. If you're looking for more in-depth video about Alishan, you can find it on my channel in the Taiwan playlist. We're now going to travel to the eastern part of the island near the city of Hualien. Having spent a few wonderful days exploring the wonders of Sun Moon Lake and the tall peaks of Yushan National Park, Taroko Gorge was one of my most anticipated trips. Before I share all the information to visit Taroko, I want to point out that back in 2024, a major earthquake struck the east coast of Taiwan, damaging roads and sadly taking a lot of lives. So my prayers go out to all the people affected by this tragedy. Before planning a trip to this region, and especially Taroko Gorge, please visit the park's website for up-to-date information on any possible road closures. To reach the city of Hualien, you can take the Taroko Express train from Taipei main station, and the journey takes about 2.5 hours next to Taiwan's scenic coast. When you arrive, I recommend renting a scooter for the duration of the time you plan to spend in Taroko. The roads in the gorge get very windy, and a scooter will give you the freedom to maneuver around cars and easily find a parking spot within the gorge. We're now ready to talk about all the things you have to do and see within Taroko Gorge National Park. If you're looking for an easy hike, then look no further than Shakadang Trail. The trail starts 1 mile from the visitor center and follows the bluest and most crystal clear water you have ever seen. You can follow the Shakadang River for roughly 5 miles, but I recommend turning around at roughly 2 miles, just a little after the food stands. This area is open and you're surrounded by the tall canyons and lots of lush trees and the sound of the Shakadang River. Be sure to carry some spare change on you, because on the way back I recommend stopping at one of the stands and purchasing the Shakadang sausage with lemon and basil flavor. After hiking the Shakadang, head over to nearby Chiang Shrine, also known as Eternal Spring Shrine. It is one of the most iconic landmarks in Taroko. It was built in memory of all the workers who lost their lives building the Central Cross Island Highway, making travel more accessible between the east and west part of Taiwan. Next place you want to visit is the Yansiku Trail, commonly referred to as the Swallow Grotto Trail. The trail used to be a main road through Taroko until it was deemed too small for the increasing traffic, and was ultimately closed off when the new road was constructed. The trail is only 1.5 miles with many scenic lookout points that show what the mighty Liwu River has carved over the years. If you're looking for a place that will take your breath away, then look no further than the Zulu Old Road hike, located near the entrance of Swallow Cliff Road. I must warn you that only about 150 permits are available each day, and you have to apply on Taroko's National Park's website weeks in advance. If you're lucky enough to secure a spot, you will hike what's arguably the best hike in all of Taiwan. In less than 2 miles, you will ascend over 2,500 feet up the marble cliffs of the Taroko Gorge. At the top, you'll find one of the most exhilarating parts of the hike, a nearly 2 feet wide trail carved into the side of the mountain. Take a deep breath and enjoy these jaw-dropping views. As of recording of this video, I'm told that much of this trail has been destroyed by an earthquake, so I can only hope that in the future the trail can be rebuilt for future generations to experience this natural wonder. Taroko is just one of many places to see here on the eastern part of the island. If you have some extra time, I recommend driving along the coastal highway. The one place I recommend is the Chin Shui Cliff, located just 15 minutes from the entrance of Taroko. This overlook is a 5-minute walk from the main road. The beautiful light blue mixed in with the deep blue ocean water creates a truly spectacular eye candy. We now travel north to a charming seaside province of Ruifang in the northeastern part of Taiwan. There are a few ways to reach this beautiful town. If you are traveling from Hualien, you can take a quick 2-hour journey to Ruifang train station and connect to Jiufen via a public bus. If you are traveling from Taipei and maybe just visiting for a day, you can take bus 965 from Taipei main station all the way to Jiufen Old Street. This area is known for its unmatched nature and stunning views of the Pacific Ocean, nostalgic ambience of its colorful and historic streets, and a rich gold mining history dating back to 1900s. People from all over the world come to Taiwan just to experience the magic of Jiufen's Old Street. As you stroll around, try some of the local delicacies like the peanut ice cream roll or the sweet taro balls that are unique to this area. The further you wander through the narrow streets, you will arrive at the Amei Tea House. This iconic building is the most photographed landmark here in Jiufen. Its beautifully preserved exterior, with wooden balconies, traditional Chinese lanterns, are believed to have inspired a scene in Spirited Away, a Japanese anime film. You can stop here for some delicious Taiwanese tea, but beware, this is one of the most popular tourist destinations in Jiufen. If you're not a fan of the crowds or just want a change of scenery, I have some good news. You can take bus 856 to a nearby town of Jinguashi. The bus is a dedicated tour bus that travels from Jiufen down to the coast. When you arrive in Jinguashi, you will be shocked just how few tourists there are here compared to Jiufen. I recommend hiking up the colorful street of Xitang, past former homes of the gold miners who lived in this area. You can also check out the Gold Museum, where one of the largest gold bars was found in the world. At the top of the stairs, you can find a beautiful temple of Jinguashi adorned by a giant bronze statue of Guagong. Just behind the temple is a short walkway that I recommend you visit to an incredible overlook called the Baoshishan. If you're looking for a bit of a longer hike, then check out Teapot Mountain hike that starts from the same lot as the Baoshishan but climbs another 1,000 feet. I would only recommend doing this hike on a clear day. There are just a couple more places I want to tell you about because they are so special in my opinion and worth taking the time to visit. First is the Golden Waterfall. This beautiful color comes from the iron and copper deposits left behind from the mining days. Next is the Bitou Cape. You can also get here via the 856 bus. The scenic hike was by far my favorite in the area. The 2.5-mile trail takes you to various overlooks of the East China Sea and over the rugged coast of Taiwan. It can get quite windy up here, but the views here are well worth it. The last place I'd like to tell you about is the Shenao Elephant Trunk Rock Formation. It is a little bit out of a way and takes an hour to reach from Bitou Cape using bus 791, but this unique rock formation is unlike anything you have ever seen. There are of course much more things to discover in this area, but these are just some of my top recommendations that I can speak to from my personal experience. I may have only seen the surface of what Taiwan has to offer, but after these last 10 or so days, I feel a deep connection to this country. From every person I have met throughout this journey, for even just a brief moment, to all of the amazing hikes and adventures I embarked on, Taiwan will forever hold a special place in my heart. Whether you're a foodie hoping to try out the night markets all over the country, or hike through some of the most beautiful landscapes in Asia, Taiwan has it all. I truly hope that my video has not only helped you plan a trip, but also inspired you to get out there and go somewhere that you've always wanted. You can find more exciting Taiwan adventures on my channel, and I wish you all a safe journey. 感谢观看。